Hold up.
Every day I wake up. Wake your ass up.
The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Start off with sports. The Giants beat the Chargers 21-18. Eagles beat the Buccaneers 31-25. Bills beat the Saints. Jaguars beat the 49ers. The Bears beat the Raiders. The Cowboys and Packers tied. Chiefs beat the Ravens 37-20. Rams beat the Colts 27-20. The Lions beat the Browns 34-10. Patriots beat the Panthers. Texans beat the Titans. And the Falcons beat the Commanders. All right, tonight in Monday Night Football, the Jets take on the Dolphins at 7:15, and the Bengals play the Broncos at 8:15.
Look at Mimi Brown looking like she about to headline the forum tonight. Don't she? She got a show?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Mimi.
What's up, Mimi?
Good morning. Good morning. All right, y'all. So there's a lot to get through today. MB, you are right. So much happening over the weekend. And sadly, we start this morning with news of another mass shooting, this one at a church in Michigan. Police say at least 4 people were killed and 8 others hurt after a gunman drove his truck into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township. That's just right outside of Flint, Michigan. Yes. Authorities say the gunman opened fire on hundreds gathered for Sunday service, then poured gasoline inside and started a fire. Now, that chapel is now a total loss, and investigators believe there are still more victims inside that burned out building. Now, police have identified the suspect as 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford, a Marine vet. He was shot and killed by officers just minutes after the attack. The ATF says explosive devices were also found at the scene. Witnesses describing chaos, but also bravery as church members were shielding children and others were trying to rescue the elderly. Let's listen.
So we were driving away. We were trying to gather as many people as we could. There was a couple of elderly ladies that we were trying to get into safety, so we got them into our car. I saw the active shooter come out of the building, and at that point, I just started trying to drive away. He pointed his gun at our car and fired 3 shots. 2 of them went through our windshield and just missed me, and luckily everybody else. I think this is just glass shrapnel that got me. And then we got out, and then now we're just trying to kind of find out why and how and what happened.
You know, when I was young, my daddy used to say jokingly that some people so crazy that they will shoot in church. And now in my big age of 47, that seems like it's the norm. Like people are always letting off in the church.
It's crazy.
Very sad.
It's crazy.
Very, very, very sad. So the FBI is calling it an act of targeted violence. There's still no motive. They're still trying to investigate why this happened. And this comes less than 24 hours after news of another mass shooting, also by a Marine vet who opened fire at a bar in North Carolina, killing 3 and injuring 8 more. So 2 mass shootings over the weekend.
Miz was cold and calculated, but man, you know, you said he was a veteran, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they don't be giving these veterans the psychological help they need when they come home from these deployments a lot of times.
Yeah, not only that, but it's going to get to a point where all synagogues, all churches, all schools are going to need a security guard, like an armed security at the door to make sure that you're going to have metal detectors that go in churches as well, but you're going to need some type of security in all these places to make sure that you're safe when you're praying and you're worshiping and you're going to school, which is crazy.
Although they don't have, the help that they need, it's like, why do that to a church? Why go and do that? I mean, you have sense enough to know, like, what you're doing, So, I don't know. I think it's sad on both ends. But.
Yeah, but it's definitely a lack of mental health services for these veterans. Because if it's not this, it's high suicide rates amongst veterans. Like, I really don't think they take care of these veterans psychologically when they come home. Like, where do they go?
Very sad.
There's nowhere to go. All right. And from Michigan to Oregon, where protests are once again in the spotlight, on Sunday, President Trump ordering 200 members of the Oregon National Guard into federal service for a 60-day deployment, saying Portland was, quote, war ravaged and that federal facilities were, quote, under siege. Now, by Sunday afternoon, protesters filled the streets of Portland's ice building, near Portland's ice building. The demonstrations were noisy, but mostly peaceful. Now, federal agents with long guns were seen on the rooftops, while Oregon's governor and state leaders quickly filed a lawsuit to block that deployment, calling it unlawful and insisting that Portland is not a war zone. And there's a similar situation playing out this morning in Memphis. Starting today, federal agents and National Guard units are being deployed there as part of the administration's broader crime crackdown. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee says 13 federal agencies will be involved, including the FBI, the DEA, the ATF, along with 300 state troopers. Now, the guard will only serve in roles. They will not have guns unless the police request it. Governor Lee called it a generational opportunity, while Memphis Mayor Paul Young, he acknowledged that residents are concerned on both sides. Loren was actually in Memphis over the weekend, and she spoke to the mayor about how the city is preparing. Let's listen to that.
Well, we are preparing. I've been trying to articulate to people that we're different than Chicago and LA because our governor has said yes and the president said yes. So as mayor, I don't have a say in whether they come or not. So what we're doing now is working to align how they come, where they're going to show up, what their assignments are going to be. So we're putting together a whole strategy of how we engage. And we've been having positive dialogues with the National Guard, major generals, and all of those folks. My goal is to try to keep them focused on violent crime, not petty crimes and things of that nature.
Yeah, who's deciding that these people need the military, Mimi? Like, what's going on in Portland and Memphis that they need the military? Even when I was seeing people at the CBC last week in D.C., they was showing, videos of, like, the military just sitting in front of downtown restaurants in D.C. Doing nothing.
Yeah, doing nothing. And in Portland, there's video of them riding their bike and jump roping and just literally sitting on the grass reading a book. And meanwhile, Trump is sending the National Guard. So, I think everybody, even the mayors of the cities, are really trying to understand what is behind this. And this is specifically in Memphis. If you want more information, they have launched a website that has a question and answer section that I really think will help you if you're in Memphis or you have a loved one in Memphis. And really quick, that website is memphistn./safe and clean. So again, memphistn.gov/safe and clean. And if you want to hear the full interview, it will be on Loren's podcast today. You can check that out with Mayor Paul Young. All right. Some interesting stuff there. So coming up at 7, though, the world's busiest airport just left $37 million on the table. And we'll tell you why and what's behind that decision.
All right. And everybody else, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open. Let us know how your weekend was. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. Let's get back to some front page news. Start off with some quick sports. Now, last night, the Falcons beat the Commanders. Giants beat the Chargers. The Eagles beat the Buccaneers. Texans beat the Titans. Patriots beat the Panthers. The Bills beat the Saints. Jaguars beat the 49ers. The Lions beat the Browns. The Rams beat the Colts. The Bears beat the Raiders. The Packers and Cowboys tied in overtime, of course. The Chiefs beat the Ravens 37-20. Now, tonight in Monday Night Football, the Jets take on the Dolphins at 7:15, and the Bengals take on the Broncos at 8:15. Now, Mimi,
that's
what's
too
up?
late, man. These games come on too late. They got to start these games 2 hours early, bro. There's no reason for games to be starting 8:15, 8:30.
Yeah, I think that's late with you, too. I mean, like I said, I fell asleep on the Cowboys game last night. What's up, Mimi?
Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing this morning?
Good.
Blessed, black, and highly favored. How you doing, Mimi?
Good. Thanks for asking. Okay, so to this story that everyone's talking about this morning, we're going to start with a dramatic turn in the New York City politics with Mayor Eric Adams. He's officially dropping out the race in the race for a second term just 5 weeks before Election Day. So, Charlamagne, let's flash back to last week. Less than a minute into his interview on The Breakfast Club, you asked him if he was dropping out. Let's listen to that.
You know the question everybody keeps asking, are you dropping out of the mayoral race?
And you know what? I answered that 101 times. I said, no, I'm not. Our goal is to finish this race.
Over the past weekend, you didn't attend any public events while a lot of the rivals were out campaigning, and people used that to fuel more speculation that you're preparing to drop out. So how do you respond to that?
Think about this, Charlamagne. No matter what I said, they did it anyway.
Mm-hmm. So listen, you're polling in 4th place right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What makes you think you can still win?
What I must do in these campaigns is I need my money.
I think you gave him several times to answer the question, Charlamagne. And he said each time that he is staying in the race. Well, by Sunday, his tone had changed. And in a nearly 9-minute video posted to X, set to Frank Sinatra's My Way, Adams admitted he could no longer see a path to re-election. Let's listen to that.
I cannot continue my re-election campaign. The constant media speculation about my future and the campaign finance board's decision to withhold millions of dollars have undermined my ability to raise the funds needed for a serious campaign.
We knew that, Mayor Adams. And this is what makes politicians look ridiculous to us, to we the people, because we see what we know we see, and y'all be trying to tell us we don't see it, and then things like this happen, and now you got to admit we were right the whole time. But you never admit we were right the whole time.
Yeah, pretty bad. I mean, he was polling fourth. I think everybody knew he was going to drop out, but he said he was going to fight to the end.
So the end was Sunday? He told us on Thursday he was going to fight to the end. The end was Sunday?
End was Sunday.
The end was clearly Sunday, and so his exit now clears the way for former Governor Andrew Cuomo running as an independent, while Democratic Socialist Zoran Mondani, he is a clear front runner. A new poll has him up 20 points. With affordability, crime, and economy topping voters' concerns, Mondani came out blasting both Adams and Cuomo, saying billionaire donors will not dictate this election. And Republican nominee Curtis Sliwa, he skipped over Adams entirely, insisting he is the only one who can beat Mondani. And Cuomo, meanwhile, praising Adams for putting the city above personal ambition. And just one thing to note, Adams' name will still be on the ballot because it's too late to remove it, but his campaign is over, so do not be confused if you see it there. He's out of the race. You want to make sure that your vote goes to a candidate who is still in the race.
Well, billionaire donors is about to put everything behind Cuomo, so I hope Mondani is ready. I hope Mondani's ready for every single, personal attack that is going to happen to him over the next couple of months.
Yeah, it's definitely coming. And we're just now one day away from a possible government shutdown, and the Trump administration is raising the stakes. President Trump is threatening to lay off thousands of federal workers permanently if funding runs out tomorrow night at midnight. And the White House Budget Office has directed agencies to prepare plans identifying programs that will lose money on October 1st if Congress fails to act. Now, in the past, shutdown workers, they're usually temporarily out of work and brought back once funding is restored. But this time, the Office of Management and Budget is signaling that many of those jobs will be cut off for good, which is a sharp break from precedent. Now, lawmakers, they do remain gridlocked. Democrats insist any funding deal must include the Affordable Care Act subsidies set to expire at the end of the year, while Republicans argue that those discussions should wait. They want a clean bill to simply extend the funding. Now, Trump is expected to meet with congressional leaders at the White House later today, but with the deadline looming tomorrow at midnight, the risk of a shutdown and the possibility of mass layoffs is very, very real. That's where we are with that. And lastly, if you travel through Atlanta Airport often, this story is for you. The world's busiest airport just turned down $37 million in federal funding to stand firm on its commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, that money was part of a larger $57 million FAA package for restroom upgrades, taxiway repairs, and sustainability projects. Earlier this year, the Trump administration, they added a new rule that airports taking federal money must declare their DEI efforts will not conflict with federal law. Well, cities like New York, San Francisco, and Boston, they sued, but Atlanta tried to strike the language from its grant agreement, but the FAA refused, and so city officials didn't sign, and days later, the federal government confirmed the money was off the table. So Atlanta says that this money will not make a difference. You will not notice it. They point that federal money only makes up 10% of their airport's $10 billion capital plan, and they will find other ways to fund upgrades without disrupting passengers, but they did not want to get rid of their DEI programs.
That's dope.
Well, salute to the Atlanta airport.
That's dope.
Yeah, so that's your front page news. I'm Mimi Brown. Follow me at Mimi Brown TV. For more news, follow the Black Information Network and download the free iHeartRadio app or visit BINnews.com.
Thank you, Mimi.
Hold up. Every day I wake up, wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?